Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something almost everyone gets involved with at some point, travel. But, we're not just scrolling through reviews or listing airport codes here.
No, not at all.
We've pulled together a whole range of sources to build, a kind of complete traveler's roadmap. It covers everything, really practical stuff, social skills, even the philosophy behind it all.
That's the goal, exactly.
Yeah.
We want to help you, our listener, move past just, surviving a trip.
Right.
And get to a place where you're genuinely understanding the world, reflecting on it. We've structured this whole deep dive kind of like climbing a ladder.
Okay.
Starting at, say, A2, the absolute basics for survival, and moving all the way up to C1, which is more about analysis, reflection, maybe even transformation. It's about building confidence, really, in context.
Okay. I like that latter idea. And let's kick off with 3 quick, maybe surprising takeaways from the sources that you can use right away.
Good idea.
First, there's a big economic difference between buying a single flight ticket versus a return. It can save you a lot of money.
A lot of money. Sometimes, yeah.
Second, we've got this 3-word phrase. The sources call it a superpower phrase that apparently handles 90% of hotel hiccups.
It really does. It's incredibly useful.
And
third, we'll get into the language that helps you tell the difference between finding a real hidden gem and, falling into a classic tourist trap.
Okay, great stuff. So let's start at the bottom rung of that ladder. Section 1, the A2 Survival Guide, focusing on logistics and cutting down stress.
Exactly. A2 is the foundation, purely about managing the practical side, reducing that travel anxiety.
So where do we start? Flights.
Let's start right there. That economic hack you mentioned. The first key distinction. A single ticket. That's just one way. London to Rome, done.
Simple enough. But most trips, you go somewhere and you plan to come back. So you'd think, buy one single ticket out, one single ticket back.
You think so, but that's often a mistake, especially for beginners. The sources really flag this. For a standard vacation, what you usually need is a return ticket.
The round trip.
Exactly. And here's the key economic bit, that return ticket. It's often way cheaper than buying 2 separate single tickets.
Really? Why is that?
The airline algorithms, basically. They tend to penalize one-way bookings on many routes, assuming maybe it's a business traveler or someone less price sensitive. So return is usually the smart move for holiday travel.
Wow. Okay, that's a huge money saver right off the bat. And related to pricing, the sources also mention something called dynamic pricing.
Ah, yes, dynamic pricing. That's the price that changes constantly. It can depend on demand, how many seats are left, sometimes even how many times you've searched for that flight.
So it feels a bit like gambling sometimes.
It can. The best advice here is pretty simple. If you see a price you're happy with, grab it. Don't wait, thinking it might drop tomorrow. Checking again can actually signal more demand and poof, the price goes up.
Okay, lock it in. So we got our flight, we land, we need a place to stay. What's the general term for that? Hotels, apartments, hostels.
The umbrella term is accommodation. You'll see it on booking sites, forums, everywhere. It covers all types.
Got it, accommodation. And when you arrive there?
You head for the reception desk. That's where you'll find the receptionist.
And the magic words are?
Checking in, just walk up and say something clear and polite like, "Hello, I'd like to check in, please. Have your passport ready, maybe your booking confirmation."
Seems basic, but just knowing the phrase, it does lower the stress, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And then there's the opposite, checking out. Now, the sources really stress this one. There's a potential financial pitfall here.
Which is?
The checkout time. Usually it's around 11 a.m., maybe noon. You have to know this time.
Why so critical?
Because if you stay in the room later, even by just an hour sometimes, they can slap you with some pretty hefty late fees. Also, checkout is usually when you settle up any extra charges.
Oh, the dreaded mini bar bill. I sense the sources share my pain about that $10 bottle of water moment.
Precisely. Or maybe pay-per-view movies, room service. So always check your bill carefully, ask questions if needed, and leave on time. Avoid those surprise costs.
Good advice. Okay, still in A2, but moving to preparation. We sort of touched on the bag choice, suitcase versus backpack. What else is key for luggage prep?
Okay, a really practical point that avoids so much airport drama. Luggage size and weight limits.
Oh, yeah, especially with budget airlines.
Exactly. People often assume they can bring, a fairly big carry-on or that the weight limit is generous. Often it's really not.
So what's the tip?
Invest a few pounds or dollars in a small, portable luggage scale. Weigh your bags before you leave home. And double-check the airline's specific dimensions for carry-on and check bags. Paying excess baggage fees at the airport. That can completely wipe out any savings you made finding that cheap flight.
Such a simple check saves so much potential stress and money at the check-in counter. Okay, the airport itself, it can feel chaotic. You mentioned 5 key verbs to simplify it.
Yeah, think of it as a 5-step process. Makes it less overwhelming. First, check-in. This is where you drop off your main suitcase if you have one.
So step 1.
Second, secure. Go through the security checkpoint. Liquids out, laptops out, you know the drill. Third, monitor. Keep an eye on the departure boards. Your flight number, your gate number, boarding time, these can change.
Right. Don't just rely on what your ticket says initially.
Usually not. Fourth, find gate. Once you know the gate, head there. Give yourself plenty of time. And fifth, finally, board. Line up when called, show your boarding pass, walk onto the plane.
Check in, secure, monitor, find gate, board. Breaking it down like that really does make it feel manageable.
Exactly. Takes the chaos out of it.
Brilliant. Okay, A2 logistics. Check. Let's climb up to section 2, the B1 Confident Explorer. Now we're moving beyond just surviving, right? Into actually planning, handling problems, exploring more actively.
Precisely. And this is where that travel superpower phrase comes in. Imagine you get to your hotel room and say, the air conditioning is rattling loudly, or the Wi-Fi just won't connect.
Okay, typical problems.
You go to reception or call housekeeping, and you say the simple phrase, the item isn't working.
The air conditioning isn't working. The Wi-Fi isn't working. Okay. But hang on, why is that a superpower? If the AC is broken, why not just say the AC is broken? Seems more direct.
Ah, that's the subtle genius of it, according to the sources. Saying something is broken can sometimes sound a little, well, accusatory, especially if there's a language barrier.
Implying fault, maybe?
Possibly. But saying it isn't working, it focuses on the function. The system isn't doing what it's supposed to do. It's less personal, less confrontational.
Okay, I see that.
And there are 2 other reasons it's powerful. One, it's grammatically super simple. You just swap the noun. The TV isn't working, the shower isn't working, the key card isn't working. Easy to remember and use. Very. And 2, in any service situation, that phrase isn't working clearly signals this needs attention, probably maintenance. It gets the message across politely and effectively and gets you the help you need without causing friction.
Okay, I'm sold. Less confrontational, simple, clear signal for help. It earns the superpower title. Now moving on to another B1 challenge. Group travel. The sources are pretty blunt about this being with friends or family 237. It can seriously test relationships.
Oh, definitely. That constant proximity magnifies every little difference in habit or preference.
So what's the magic ingredient to survive or even enjoy group travel?
One word, really. Compromise. It means sometimes reducing what you want or maybe slightly changing your opinion so the group can agree. It's not about your perfect trip. It's about making sure everyone gets something they enjoy.
But compromise isn't always easy. Where do the main conflicts usually pop up?
The sources pinpoint 2 big ones that really need talking about before you even pack your bags. First, daily rhythm.
Ah, the classic early bird versus night owl situation.
Exactly that. One person wants to be up at dawn, catching the sunrise. The other wants to soak up the nightlife until 2 a.m. If you force them together constantly, they'll drive each other crazy.
So what does compromise look like there? Force the night owl up early?
No, that just builds resentment. The solution the sources suggest is agreed separation.
Agreed separation.
Yeah, you agree beforehand. Okay, you want to see the sunrise? Go. Explore on your own for a couple hours. Grab a coffee. I'll sleep in, and we'll meet up at, say, 10 a.m.
So planned time apart.
Exactly. It lets everyone do their thing without feeling resentful or dragging the other person along. You actually come back together with more energy and maybe something interesting to share from your separate mini adventures.
That makes a lot of sense. Prevents burnout. Okay, what's the second major conflict point?
This one's often trickier. Budget.
Money. Always sensitive.
Yep. If one person envisions fancy dinners, guided tours, and expensive souvenirs, and the other's thinking street food, free museums, and maybe one cheap t-shirt.
There's going to be friction every time you decide where to eat or what to do.
Constant friction. Resentment builds quickly if one person feels like they're always spending too much, or the other feels like they're constantly missing out.
So the solution is?
Talk about it openly. Before the trip, set some ground rules. How many splurge meals will you aim for? What's a rough daily budget for activities? Agree on a shared approach. It's preventative medicine for your travel relationships. Don't wait until you're awkwardly debating a $100 versus $10 dinner menu.
Discuss the uncomfortable stuff up front.
Got it. Okay, shifting gears slightly within B1, let's talk about describing our experiences. The sources say we need to ditch one word in particular.
Yes, please, everyone, stop describing everything as just nice.
Haha, guilty as charged sometimes. It's just easy, isn't it?
It is, but it tells the listener almost nothing. At the B1 level, we want richer vocabulary. If you took your breath away, don't say nice. Say it was stunning.
Okay, stunning. What else? If a market was full of energy, colors, sounds, call it vibrant. A little village square might be charming. A beautiful landscape could be picturesque.
Vibrant, charming, picturesque. Yeah, those paint a much better picture.
They give your story texture. And it works for negative experiences too, because let's be honest, not everything is stunning.
True. So instead of it was too busy,
You could say it was crowded. If that meal felt like a ripoff, it was overpriced. Using specific words makes your experiences, good and bad, much more relatable and memorable when you share them.
right, makes the storytelling much better. Okay, one last B1 idea before we move up again. Dealing with things going wrong, like delays.
Ah, yes. The sources emphasize that delays, missed connections, unexpected closures, they will happen eventually. It's part of travel.
So the B1 skill is,
It's about reframing. Instead of seeing a delayed train as a disaster that's ruined your schedule, try to see it as, well, just part of the authentic experience.
turn the negative into a neutral or even positive.
Exactly. Oh, the train's delayed by 2 hours. Okay, well, that gives us an unexpected chance to explore this little station cafe and maybe chat with some locals. It instantly lowers your stress level and can even lead to unexpected good moments. It's a mindset shift.
That's a really valuable shift, the mark of a seasoned traveler, perhaps. Okay, let's make the climb. Section 3, the C1 deep dive. Now we're getting into the why and how of travel. Analysis, ethics, transformation.
This is where we move beyond logistics and basic interactions into deeper reflection. And a good starting point is the distinction often made between the tourist and the traveler.
Okay, I've heard this before. Is it just snobbery?
It doesn't have to be. The sources frame it more as articulating your philosophy of travel. The tourist in this model often sticks to the main, heavily marketed sites, and sometimes they might stumble into a tourist trap.
Define tourist trap.
Something that looks appealing, but is fundamentally designed just to separate visitors from their money. Often overpriced, maybe lacking real local character, feels a bit manufactured.
Okay. And the traveler.
The traveler archetype is usually portrayed as seeking a more authentic experience. They might put in more effort to find a hidden gem,
A hidden gem being.
a place, or an experience that's genuinely special, maybe not widely known, perhaps requires a bit of local knowledge or effort to discover. It feels like a real find, not just something off a checklist.
Yeah.
Thinking about this difference helps you clarify what you actually want from your travels.
Right, it forces you to think about your own intentions. And that kind of C1 reflection quickly bumps into ethical questions, doesn't it? Like voluntourism.
Exactly. Combining volunteering with travel, it sounds great, and the intentions are often really good. People want to help.
But
But the sources we looked at are quite critical of the potential unintended consequences.
okay, like what? What are the main criticisms?
Two big ones come up repeatedly. First, the potential displacement of local labor. Meaning, if a group of well-meaning but unskilled volunteers fly in to, say, build a simple house for a week or two, they might be doing work that a local skilled builder could have been paid to do. It can actually take jobs away from the community they're trying to help.
Oof. Okay, that's one. What's the second?
Sustainability failures. Think about projects like digging a well or building a small clinic. If the volunteers are only there for a short time, lack specific skills, or maybe don't fully consult the community on long-term needs and maintenance.
The project might fail soon after they leave.
Precisely. The well breaks down and nobody knows how to fix it. The building isn't quite right for the local climate or needs. The core critique is that it can sometimes perpetuate a kind of savior complex from the volunteers rather than focusing on building sustainable local capacity and skills.
That's a really important, if uncomfortable, perspective to consider. Okay, let's shift from the external ethics to the internal experience, the journey home. The sources talk about something called reverse culture shock.
Yes, this is fascinating. It's not about being shocked by the foreign culture anymore. It's the shock you feel when you return to your own culture, your home.
Why does that happen?
Because you've changed. Your perspectives might have shifted, your habits, your understanding of the world. But home hasn't changed. So your old normal suddenly feels weird, or maybe frustrating or limiting, it can create a real sense of disconnect, even alienation.
Wow. So you put all this effort into growing and changing through travel, and then coming home is the hard part.
It can be, yeah. Which is why the C1 level involves reintegration. You need to actively figure out how to weave those changes, that new perspective, back into your everyday life. Otherwise, the whole transformative potential of the trip just fades away.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you reintegrate? The sources must suggest methods.
They do. Two main ways. Method one is storytelling, but not just, flipping through photos.
Right, not the boring holiday slideshow.
No. It's about distilling actionable lessons. Thinking, okay, that challenging trek taught me patience and how to break down big goals. How can I apply that to my work project this week? You're translating the experience into a concrete principle for your life back home.
Making it practical. I like that. What's method two?
Incorporation. This is about bringing back actual practices or routines. Maybe you loved the relaxed pace of evening meals abroad, so you consciously try to make dinners less rushed at home. Or perhaps travel sparked an interest in, say, pottery, so you join a local pottery class.
So you build the positive aspects of the travel experience into your regular life.
Exactly. It keeps the experience alive and stops it from just becoming a faded memory. You make it operational.
This whole process, being challenged, adapting, reintegrating, it sounds like travel forces a kind of upgrade on your brain.
That's a great way to put it. The sources suggest that immersive travel, especially, directly attacks a couple of really common cognitive biases that tend to limit our thinking. The first one is confirmation bias.
Our tendency to look for and favor information that confirms what we already believe and ignore stuff that contradicts it.
Precisely. But when you're truly immersed in a different culture, you're constantly bombarded with disconfirming evidence. Maybe you thought a certain group of people were unfriendly, but then you experience countless small acts of kindness day after day.
You can't ignore it.
You really can't. The sheer volume of experiences that challenge your preconceptions forces your brain to go, okay, wait, maybe my initial assumption was wrong. It forces a cognitive update.
Makes sense. What's the second bias it tackles?
The ethnocentric worldview, which is basically judging every other culture based on the norms and values of your own culture, assuming your way is the right way or the normal way.
Right. Seeing difference as weird or wrong.
Travel, especially deep travel, pushes you towards developing cultural relativism. This isn't about saying anything goes, but it's about trying to understand a practice or a belief on its own terms, within its own cultural context.
So instead of judging the Spanish custom of eating dinner at 10 p.m. as late or inconvenient,
you start asking why. Is it because of the heat during the day? Is it about maximizing family time after work? Is it historical? You shift from judgment to curiosity. You try to understand the internal logic of that culture.
That's a huge shift from judgment to curiosity.
It's fundamental. And this whole journey, mastering logistics, handling problems, engaging ethically, challenging your own biases, learning to see through others' eyes, it leads to what the sources call the ultimate destination. Developing a cosmopolitan self.
Cosmopolitan self. Sounds grand. What does it mean?
Literally, it means citizen of the world. It's a psychological stance. It's achieved when you start to recognize the shared human grammar that lies beneath all the diverse cultural languages.
Human grammar, like basic human needs and emotions.
Exactly. Things like love, fear, hope, the need for safety, the desire for respect, belonging. These are universal. They're the grammar. The cultural languages are the incredibly diverse ways we express that grammar are customs, traditions, foods, religions, social structures.
So the cosmopolitan self sees both, the surface diversity and the deeper shared humanity.
Yes. They appreciate and value the incredible diversity of human expression, but they're never blinded by it to the point they forget that underlying shared humanity. They can hold both perspectives at once.
Wow. Okay, this has been quite the journey in itself. We went from saving money on return tickets and that handy isn't working phrase all the way through tricky group dynamics, the ethics of voluntourism, reverse culture shock, and finally arriving at this idea of cosmopolitan self, a citizen of the world. It really underscores that the biggest prize from travel isn't necessarily the photos or souvenirs.
Absolutely. The sources really point to the internal shift, the personal growth, the changed perspective. That's the real takeaway.
So for you, the listener, now equipped with maybe some new vocabulary and concepts for thinking about travel and culture.
The challenge now is to maybe apply that skill, that cultural translation ability, a bit closer to home.
How so?
Well, here's something to mull over. Think about a conflict you currently have, or maybe just a point of deep disagreement with someone whose viewpoint seems totally alien to you. It could be a family member, a colleague, a neighbor.
Okay. We probably all have someone like that in mind.
Instead of just focusing on the surface argument, what you disagree about, try to dig deeper. Try to identify the universal human motivation, that shared grammar we talked about, that might be driving their position.
What's the underlying need or fear?
Exactly. Is it driven by a need for security, a fear of change, a desire for respect, a need to feel heard or in control? Try to connect their stance, however much you disagree with it, back to one of those fundamental, understandable human needs.
And how does that help?
It reframes the entire dynamic. Suddenly, maybe you're not dealing with someone who's just irrational or malicious. Maybe you're dealing with another human being whose core needs are manifesting in a way you find difficult. But the needs themselves are recognizable. It shifts from confrontation towards potential understanding.
Finding the shared grammar beneath the conflicting languages. That's a powerful final thought.
It's the highest form of translation, really, applying it in our own lives.
Keep reflecting, keep exploring, whether it's abroad or right here at home. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.